So anyway, welcome to another episode, everybody, of Hangin In The Basement podcast. And today I'm bringing on a new friend of mine named DT Hogans. And I'm going to call him Darren because we're friendly like that. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad for the invite. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so Darren and I met at a climate cafe, which, a group of people discussing, just trying to like kind of figure out, right, how can we be of benefit to this planet? How can we make this world a bit of more of a healthier, happier place to live in the light of, the real issues that we might be dealing with. And Darren's an author, and he wrote a book that covers topics related to that. So we'll talk about that. And uh, but just to begin with, I'd like to ask you kind of a funny question to start. What's your favorite color?
I would say gray,
Oh, really?
if
Well,
that's a
well,
color. It's a
well,
shade.
I
But
see. Okay,
but
your room is gray, right? The room you're in is painted gray.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, gray.
Mhm.
Interesting. So like if you, I mean, I'll call you, let's call it a color. I know it's like technically a shade or whatever, but um, what draws you to gray? And is it darker gray, lighter gray?
Um, I think it really depends. Like I just like I don't know if it's related to my personality, but I'd like to, I guess, be unnoticed in some way, or
Uh-huh.
like kind of just like off the grid, kind of just a, a normal palette of a person, nothing like too poppy and stuff like that.
Kind of
But
a
yeah, I think
blending
lighter
in type
gray.
of thing.
Yeah,
Blend.
yeah, that type of thing. Yeah. And rainy days, I love those, like kind of like gray skies. It's relaxing. And
Hmm.
but yeah, I would say that.
Wow. And I didn't catch it. Darker or lighter grays, or just all
Lighter gray. Yeah,
lighter
yeah,
gray.
lighter gray. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Lighter gray feels less heavy, I guess, right? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, too much dark grays, could weigh on you. I wrote a song or composed a guitar piece, and I think I was 17 or 18, called "Gray Skies, Light Heart." So
Mm.
I think that's something you can relate to. Gray skies, light heart. Yes, somehow when the sky's gray, it's a rainy day, I'm just happy. That was kind of my
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly how it.
So, of course, I want to know about what got you to the author journey, but just if you care to share about your upbringing, anything you care to share, like where you from, I don't know, anything about your upbringing that you care to share.
I was born and raised here in Brooklyn, and I've lived in several parts of Brooklyn growing up. Um, I have a pretty big family, so I'm the oldest of seven siblings,
Wow. Oh
and
man.
yeah, and my grandmother on my father's side had 10 children, and I have like close to 30 cousins, most of which lived in Brooklyn. So it was kind of really interesting.
Wow.
Um, yeah, to be around all these different personalities and
Mhm.
just large groups of people and with really close knit group.
Yeah. Was there a point
Yeah.
when like all seven siblings were living in the house, or like, or did some already move out or something, or like you move out or
No,
something?
yeah, yeah. So some were already gone.
Hmm.
Um, but most of them uh I mean, even now, like, we have some that lives in different places and stuff like that, but we're relatively close still.
Yeah.
We're all having kids now and stuff like that.
Wow.
But yeah, that's it. And and yeah, I think Brook being in Brooklyn, kind of you grow up a certain way. Uh, so kind of like a street instinct.
Hmm.
In New York, yeah, like I didn't live in the best neighborhoods when I was younger. But it was okay. Like it didn't feel like a bad thing,
Hmm.
and
Okay.
it kind of shaped my world, I think, in a lot of ways.
Did you realize there wasn't great neighborhoods, or you realize that later when you moved out?
Well, you know, when you when you're young, you kind of don't see that type of thing
Hmm. Right.
until you're older. Yeah, so which I guess is a good thing. It didn't bother me much.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Do you have
Yeah.
of the places you live? Do you have a favorite neighborhood, or like a place you identify as home the most?
Um, I don't know. It's like I consider myself like a Rolling Stone, so you know,
Hmm.
I could be comfortable anywhere. But if I had to choose, I would say I would say it had to be uh, the Crown Heights.
Yeah.
Yeah, Crown Heights. Yeah.
Interesting. Nice. How close were you to the botanical gardens, which can kind of in that direction? Maybe not exactly Crown Heights, but
Pretty much walking distance.
yeah. Wow.
Pretty much walking distance. I actually was at the Botanical Gardens a couple of weeks ago for another climate event. As a matter of
Oh,
fact, they had
really?
one there. Yeah, and then
Sweet.
I walked back to my old neighborhood. I always swing by every once in a while. I still have people that I know over there and family that still lives over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were there for a long time?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like that was the bulk of your growing up was there, Crown Heights?
yeah. That was the bulk. Yeah.
Okay. So like I'm a
Um,
Marine Parker, so I mean I did live in Sheepshead Bay and whatever, but I would consider
mhm.
myself a Marine Parker. So even though you're basically, I guess you'd say you're a Brooklynite, you'd kind of feel like
Yeah,
Crown Heights is your has your heart the most, maybe.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
My first apartment was in Marine Park. Like when I
Oh,
first
really?
moved out on my own. Yeah, I had a place on Garrettson Beach, Garrettson
The
Street, and
Garrison
like
Avenue.
Avenue U. They're like a couple of blocks away from
MU and
Marine Park.
Garrison, roughly.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Okay. That's a
Yeah.
pretty good spot, right by Key Food, right? Um,
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't a key food. Wait, was it? I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. It was
yeah,
a
Key Food
key
was
food
there
back
for a
then.
while, but yeah, there's some changes
Then they had
happening
like a
in Key
gas
for sure.
station next to it or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, that was my first apartment over there.
Oh, okay. And you lived there for a bit?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah. I
feel
lived
the
there.
Marine Park, vibe, I guess.
Yeah, I had already knew a lot of people that lived in the area. I had family also in that area, um, and so yeah, it didn't feel foreign to me, you know.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
and I feel that way about a lot of areas in Brooklyn where like I don't know if it's because I already know that I'm in Brooklyn, but like I could step foot in a lot of places and it still feels familiar to me.
Hmm. That's cool. Yeah, I think that's really important personally. Uh, my
Hmm.
father was a Brooklynite. He grew up in Brooklyn. My mom too. And my dad grew up in on Dean Street, pretty close to the Barclays Center, like Seventh Avenue and Dean Street. But back then it was real rough. It,
Hmm.
it was a rough apartment they lived in, and a lot of gang violence. It was primarily from what I hear, was more like white on Puerto Rican, less white and black. It's more Puerto Rican,
Yeah.
and whites were in conflict at that time. This is the 50s, 60s.
Wow.
So it's just so nice for me now to be able to go around. And Buddhism really helped me with this. Of course, before I became a Buddhist, I was traveling around Brooklyn just as a curious person, also as a musician. But as
Hmm.
a Buddhist, I got a chance to go to all sorts of neighborhoods that I would never otherwise have the privilege of going into apartments in like Brownsville or in Crown Heights and East Flatbush. I've been to really a lot of different places, Canarsie, into people's homes where we chant together because there are members there. And I just
Hmm.
felt I had this motto, personal motto. I don't know, it just came from my soul, which was taking back Brooklyn, meaning the Brooklyn's. I don't want to be afraid to go anywhere in Brooklyn. Well, when I was young, I
Yeah.
definitely I was afraid of some places for sure.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I grew as a person, but Brooklyn also matured too. And I do feel that more or less I can go anywhere in Brooklyn. Like you said, you have that feeling that you can kind of feel comfortable you know,
Yeah, yeah.
wherever you are. And yeah, Buddhism
Mhm.
really helped me with that. And I think it helped Brooklyn too, whether Brooklynites know about it or not. There's a lot of Buddhists all over the borough chanting for world peace and getting together with all sorts of different backgrounds, former Jews, former Catholics, former you name it, and then of course
Interesting.
black and white and whatever colors all gather together, being co-leaders and stuff like that. And so it really
Yeah,
enriches
yeah.
your, a person's life, you know, capacity.
Interesting. Yeah, that's great.
So, so what brought you to the realm of writing? Did you like writing as a in high school? Did you always like writing?
Um, Actually, no. I was already an adult at this point. But I'm big on like just when you think of things, you write them down and you
Hmm.
keep a record of that stuff. So that's what I always do. Even today, like I have probably several dozen notebooks, and then like my phone, I have probably hundreds of notes about different things dating back 10, 15 years. And I just kind of I record all of that stuff, and every once in a while I go back and visit, and my perspective kind of changes on things. So like
Hmm.
it gets updated or it gets deleted, or this things that don't apply anymore. But that's my as far as writing goes, that's my capacity of it. I think I've never written anything to the extent of that was even close to writing a book.
Hmm. But like, for let's say for school, you have to write an essay or something. Was that something you enjoyed or not so much?
No, in school I wasn't crazy about it. I wasn't
Yeah.
a big fan of school. Um,
Hmm.
but the creative parts were great for me. So like when in high school I was a producer for like this public access TV show that they had. And
Hmm.
so every week I had to write write these stories and sketches and all types of things like that.
Hmm.
And that was something that I really enjoyed doing.
And did you have to like get people to act it out, or you got help and stuff? It was a team type.
Yeah, no, I had people to act it out, students and teachers from the school and things like that, and then we would use it to cover news, anything like related to the school and what's going on, stuff like that. A lot of different things.
Hmm.
But
Okay, cool. And I noticed, your book or Darren's book is uh, very visual. It's graphic based. So I imagine you have to have some sort of like I could not conceive of how you could create that because my brain works differently. So you must be some sort of visual artist as well, right? Or a
Yeah.
visual person.
Yeah. As far as how I designed the book, that's the type of thing that I've worked on for a long time. Like this is even though this is my first published work, I've done a lot of like graphic style like information with business plans and stuff like that, kind of just practice that type of
Hmm.
thing. So yeah,
Sure.
this is definitely not my first go round, but and it's
Mhm.
something that I really enjoy doing. Yeah, like
Yeah, I could
kind of
tell.
like
I could tell there was definitely passion in there because it was I glanced at, I leafed through it, but it was so thorough from what I could gather, and not just
yeah.
thorough in the information. I'm sure there's a lot of information, but just the detail of what the visuals look like. They're very
Mhm.
compelling. They tell you what the heck. They give you an idea. It's poison or escape or whatever the signs you were using. You get the picture pretty clearly, and you must have thought about it.
Yeah.
You
hmm
know.
Yeah. So what I wanted to practice and what I had to keep in my mind as I was creating this book was like brevity. So like trying to get your point across with as few words or information as possible. Like you kind of just want to get to the point. So
Hmm.
that's big in this book. I want um, to be able to reach people by conjuring up an idea right away, like with not
Hmm.
too much, not saying too much, not showing too much, but just enough to where like it's understood.
Yeah, that's definitely the feeling I got. And would have you ever thought about, or I'm not no pressure or something, but like teaching that at a school if you had the chance, because I think kids could understand it one graphic and just discuss it if public school even wants people to talk about that. I don't know, right? But
Yeah, yeah. Um, well, I'm planning on doing workshops, but as far as like teaching something like that, I never thought about that. I'm not, you know, infographic style, which is, for the lack of a better term, is what I consider the book to be. It's something that I discovered a few years ago, and a lot of like government institutions use infographics to like
okay.
display information or warnings or
Hmm.
like just basically anything across the board. And I really like that. I really like that style of communicating information to people.
Hmm.
And it's really difficult when you just kind of have like words on a page, especially nowadays. Everybody has a short attention span, so it's hard to keep people engaged in content.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. I mean, I know as a writer, I love to read. Okay, I know a lot of people don't like to read, and so
Mhm.
I'm sure there's many people who will never read the book I already wrote or the books I will write. But I just accept that, because whatever. I'm not the whole world is not my audience. It's those who choose to, you know, invest their time. But of course, if you do want a wide reach, to use something that's going to be accessible to the mass kind of consciousness, maybe. Yeah, you
Mhm.
would want to factor that in. Like what's going to grab people's attention quicker uh, and clearly, as possible. So obviously,
Mhm.
you thought about that, and that whole infographic, I guess, culture or movement, I don't know what you call it, is part of that. I've seen it, like even when I travel to Japan or other places, and infographics are just much more common than 10 years ago, or certainly 20 years ago, I would say, from my
Yeah,
experience.
yeah. Mhm.
And it's very, I don't know, are you on the end of like creating the graphic? Do you do that too? Or like you find one that
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense?
yeah. There was some things that like I just didn't have the talent enough to create myself, but 90% of the book was all created by me from scratch
Wow.
on PowerPoint. Everything that I made was on PowerPoint because it was the
Wow.
only program that I knew how to use.
Wow, that's great. I had no idea. I would not have guessed that you could do that on PowerPoint. I thought it was some fancy program that, was made for that
Mm,
style. So yeah,
no.
job well done on that. And then
Yeah,
so what, like each page would be like a PDF or JPG that you would plug into like a slot in a Microsoft Word document or something, like one page.
Uh, no, I literally just printed the pages straight from PDF form.
Oh, okay.
That's why my book has like this elongated kind of look
Hmm.
to it. It's not a regular 8 by 11 sheet. It's like
Right, right.
6 by 11. And so that's the style of presentations on PowerPoint. It's
Oh,
kind of
okay.
like long. So whether you're doing it wide um, or long, that's how it comes out. So like and I thought
Okay.
that was great. I like that it was like that. And
Yeah, that was unique. So like let's say when you're uploading to Amazon, they accept that file format. Did you have to like
um
finagle it to
oh uh well, what I did with Amazon was because I published it myself. So I printed it, I punched the holes in it. All these books are homemade.
oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so when I put it with Amazon, all I had to do was upload it as just a product. Like I
Oh,
didn't go through KPD or anything like that. Uh,
okay.
I could have went with like a traditional press company, but the format that I wanted, the book wasn't available to me.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, because I've seen the options, and I can't imagine how I would get a book print, through like a KDP type of
Yeah.
resource. How you could do that. So, all right. So you
Mhm.
make them yourself. That no wonder they look so unique. They're
Yeah,
not your
yeah, yeah.
standard cookie cutter thing, right? Your book.
Exactly. Yeah, they just didn't have the options that I was looking for. I kind of already knew exactly how I wanted the book to be. And so those options weren't available. You know, I know Barnes and Nobles has their own printing service, and
Hmm.
a few other big companies, and they have all these options, and none of them fit exactly what I was looking for.
Wow. I
Yeah,
imagine there's a way uh, to make it into a, an ebook, right? You to sell it in Kindle, perhaps not
yeah,
KDP
yeah.
print, but like a ebook version. And
Mhm.
again, I'm not whether you should or should, I'm not saying, but I imagine it's possible somehow.
Yeah, yeah. That's definitely a little bit down the line. I'm going to eventually shoot out like a just a digital version and stuff like
Hmm.
that. But I'd like to focus on a physical version just because my book presses those issues about like there are some things that you should have a physical item for, especially when you're preparing for disasters and stuff like that.
Hmm. Yeah, so let's speak about your book. Let's for those who don't know about it, what is it called? What's the we know that it's infographic, but like what's the main message? What's the information in there?
Yeah. All right. So yeah, the name of it is called Ready for Whatever, and it is infographic style uh, beginner's handbook for people who live in cities, and it is about preparing people who live in cities for disasters. And I cover they're mostly climate related disasters, but I also cover you know nuclear fallout, civil unrest, and blackouts. Whether or not it's related to weather doesn't really matter, but I absolutely cover that. So yeah, this is just a beginner's guide, and the goal is uh, to kind of address this idea that preparing for disasters is not about hiding in a bunker and hoarding resources and living alone in the basement somewhere.
Hmm.
There's so much in between that happens between those things, and I think like the media kind of um they glorify kind of like the worst case scenario kind of things.
Hmm.
And so I think it's a bad message to send
Yeah,
when you want to teach people how to do that thing.
yeah, yeah. You see it on YouTube a lot as well. This sort of like I forget what the word is, but like this disaster preparation mentality of stock up your
Mm-hmm.
shelves, buy all the things that you're gonna need for the next however many weeks or months. And realistically, it's not gonna nothing's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
like that.
exactly it's not a realistic approach, and I try to like um push the message in a way more grounded
Hmm.
fashion, like kind of like you do little things here and there. You take care of yourself over time, as opposed to just running out and buying a whole bunch of cans and just waiting around. I want you to be able to do to prepare for these things and still live your life normally. And
Yeah,
that's
right.
what it's all about. Like,
Yeah, and having that sense of like, okay, you get more used to the idea that okay, if something happens, I'm kind of getting ready for it. Yeah, right. Like
mm-hmm.
so. Yeah, this kind of like because we never know if something's gonna happen. We hope it won't, but knowing
Yeah.
that it might, like just yesterday, for example, we are supposed to have a big storm, right? A lot of rain, and we got a storm. It was windy. Fortunately, not too much rain. And but yes, I
Mm-hmm.
ran out to Lowe's to get a sump pump because my mother's house is not draining properly, and if it rains a lot all of a sudden, which it did in the summer, it
Yeah.
used to drain fine, but recently there's a problem, and we can't fix it, and it'll raise, and then all of a sudden it's going to go down to the basement. That's going to be a big nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a sump pump yesterday. So that's a small thing, but I feel like at least I could do that. I can't. We tried to fix a drain. It's like it's a big deal. Whatever. That's down the line. We notified the city about it because we think it's a city thing. But for now, if we get a heavy rain, what are we going to do? At least having a sump pump, and the neighbors have one too, then we could avoid the basement flooding, which is pretty
Yeah.
much the worst case scenario in that case, and ruining
Mhm.
stuff, which is the basement had already been redone because there was a fire in it, not too many years ago. So I want to do that
Wow.
again. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
I totally hear you. And like, so my wife and I, we stock up on rice, like just a little, like an extra big bag of rice.
Yeah.
Not a heck of a lot of extra cans, but we have grains and stuff that could last us for a while. We're not going to go hungry for at least 2 weeks, and then you could fast in between, right? Like it's also something a
Yeah.
bit about, right? So, um, yeah, I like this sort of measured approach
hmm
for
Yeah. And
sure.
then there's a lot of benefits from it because if you think about when a storm or something happens, um, you know, uh, irrational thinking kind of goes out the window, and you just kind of just want to grab whatever you can and stuff like that. And when you prepare in small doses over time, you're not affected by those things. And not just that, like price gouging. Every the price of everything goes up, so you kind of protect yourself from that aspect of it too. And
Yeah, you
so yeah,
definitely want
there's
to avoid the panic, right? Avoid the panic mode. There's no
yeah,
benefit to
it's all about being prepared, like so that you don't have to deal with those things.
it. Yeah, do you have a memory of Hurricane Sandy? Was it like traumatic to you in any way? If you're mid Brooklyn, probably wouldn't be that big a deal, but
Yeah, yeah. For city dwellers, we don't get a lot of like crazy, I mean, our subways get flooded and stuff like that, but nothing that ever was really life threatening, except for like maybe Hurricane Irene. As far as like Staten Island goes, they got really hammered
hmm.
for I think it was Irene and Sandy.
Yeah, Sandy
Hmm
was extra bad on Staten Island. Irene was more like toppling trees and stuff, but Sandy was, as far as I understand, that's where the
Yeah.
storm surge came in the ocean. I know Gerritsen Beach
hmm
got really just wrecked.
Yeah,
Breezy
good.
Point got wrecked. Parts of Staten Island got wrecked. I had
hmm
just moved into my house like that weekend or something like that, and
Wow.
we didn't get hit. We're close to the water. We're right by that Marine Park Coffee almost, but
hmm
we're literally across the street. Avenue is on our corner, so close to the water, but it didn't affect us in that way. But we did take on, I don't know, like 5 people. We let them stay in our house for a while because their house was flooded. So people from Coney Island, Gerritsen Beach, they needed a place to stay, and we housed them. In the first week we moved in, we're like, you got six,
Wow.
7 people living here. It's so wacky. So it was kind
Yeah.
of a personal, it touched us personally. Didn't
hmm
ruin us in any way, but it was like, we were affected by
Yeah.
that, you know. So we
But
know that
yeah,
it's
I
real.
yeah, I remember going. I wanted to volunteer for during Sandy. Well, I guess it was after the storm had died down, and for to I wanted to head to Staten Island. There was this group of people that were volunteering to like clean up and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
this was I believe it was maybe 3 or 4 days after, and we still had a gas shortage. So I wasn't
Oh
able
yeah,
to. I went to several gas stations and I couldn't get gas, so I ended up not being able to go. And I was like, this is several days after. If you think about it, so like, what
yeah,
happens if it's something larger and affects more neighborhoods and stuff like that? You're kind of like just stuck.
yeah. That was a kind of scary moment. I remember hearing
hmm
about a friend, kind of a distant friend who was at a gas station, and I don't know, he had a gun pulled on him or something for gas because like he was willing to like, hey, this is my tank, and the guy's, oh no, it's my, like that type of thing. Like I'm gonna fill
Wow.
that. And for me, I waited online for gas, like Avenue S and like I don't know 38th Street or something, all the way to go to Avenue. T and Flatbush. So like I don't know, what 6 blocks wait, right? And then
Mm.
I was next, and I had to go to the bathroom so bad. This whole time I'm in the car, I'm like, I really gotta go. I was next, and then they put the sign up like we're done, we're all out of gas, and I couldn't get it. I was hour in line, really like uncomfortable, and couldn't even get it.
It just shows you how fragile the supply chain is, for a lot of things that we just don't, we kind of take for granted. And you saw that during COVID too, like
Mhm.
how quickly things that were in abundance right away turned into turned into like a nothing left kind of thing.
Right. You mentioned the other day the toilet paper issue, and but everyone remembers that. That was it seems silly, but people were, were freaking out about it, right? And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
the price gouging definitely happened with that. I saw, toilet paper get real expensive. We even
Hmm.
ordered toilet paper from Amazon at that time, and it was like small and kind of hard. And once toilet paper issue faded away, which faded pretty quick, we didn't really use those. We just stored them. But yeah, that was the thing. I remember that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that was when I started writing the book, like right
Oh,
at COVID, because it was that with the toilet paper thing and amongst a bunch of other things, it kind of like radicalized me to not want to be um a part of the problem, and kind of I wanted to move away from having to deal with stuff like that. So
yeah.
that's actually when I started doing research on the book.
Okay. Yes, I was wondering. That was going to be one of my questions. Is so what galvanized you to actually? I can imagine you get interested in the topic, but to actually go all the way through to make a full book about it and publish it.
Yeah.
Yoko, my wife, was watching uh, upstairs.
Hi,
So to
Yoko. Good to see you.
Still here. So this was the regular toilet paper that we like to use, probably most do, and this is what we ordered on Amazon. We still have it, right? 5 years later because it's not that pleasant to use, but it's shipped and we got it. But yeah,
Wow.
weird, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
You could right
that's
away look at it. It's smaller. The inner tube is a lot bigger.
right.
That's
Yeah, it's like
insane.
yeah, and they were able to do that and whatever. I mean, if you need it and if you're in the forest or if you just run out of your house, it'll do the job. But if
Yeah.
not, this is preferable. What a
Hmm.
strange industry, right? Toilet
And
paper making.
and they probably charged you like a premium if you bought it at that time,
Yeah,
compared to what you
sure it was
typically
more
pay.
than you need to pay for it. I don't know the price, but
Yeah.
you know,
Hmm.
no other animals need toilet paper, right? Just us.
Yeah, we got to evolve past that. A
Yeah,
bidet.
yeah,
Like,
that'd be
why is
nice.
bidets not a normal thing in the U.S.? I don't know.
Right, right. I remember being in India. I was in India for 3 weeks one time, and
Hmm.
you hear you're not supposed to. I think it was forget it was right or left. You don't shake hands with right or left hand because that's what they use for wiping their butt or whatever.
Yeah.
India, that's what we learned. And
Hmm.
because a lot of places don't have toilet paper, so you just kind of use your hand and water and just kind of wipe
Yeah.
with your hand. And
Mm.
I guess some have bidets or something like a bidet. It's not exactly the same from my memory.
Yeah.
But by when I was there, and of course, I'm a spoiled Westerner. I want to have toilet paper, but there might have been once or twice I didn't, and I was like, oh, the Indian food is is so like water based that you actually don't have that need for toilet paper like you do in America. Like you just have to
Oh,
here.
yeah,
But like
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
kind of you can clean with your hands. It's not that impossible. So
Hmm.
so it was kind of eye opening to me. Like, oh, so I guess you could have a diet where you don't really need to put this processed paper in your behind. That is possible.
Yeah, yeah.
But most
Oh,
most
that's
countries in the world
interesting.
definitely have toilet paper, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
this point. Yeah. Um, so spiritually, I know when I mentioned that I was a Buddhist, you said that you have some sort of affinity towards it or some, I don't know, openness to it. But how did you grow up, religiously or spiritually, or what are your beliefs? If you want to
Um,
talk
I,
about
I, there's nothing. Well, I went to a Christian school. Well, it was the elementary schools, and it wasn't for a long period of time. But they were pretty stern about like teaching. They were like everything revolved around the teachings of the Bible at that period of
that?
time, and that was like the first few grades of elementary school. But after that, the family was fairly agnostic. There were different family members that practiced Jehovah's Witness and just general Christianity. Nothing very specific, and not like a hardcore practice.
Hmm.
Um, uh, but as far as for me, I'm fairly agnostic. But if I just think that like I mostly more closely identify with Buddhism as far as like just outlook. Like there's I've read like the Four Agreements and books similar to that, and those type of things uh, are closely related to like the type of messages that they send you are closely related to forms of Buddhism. So that's
Sure.
why I said that like I identify with Buddhism more than anything else. I don't practice it uh,
Hmm.
as a regular person, but I do like the idea that like the I guess you could say the message that they purvey, and yeah, I'd love to learn more about it.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, I grew up as a Catholic, and I went to Catholic school for 10 years. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, so from pre-K straight through eighth grade, uh, two different schools. And so, yeah, was raised on, I won't say I was raised in the Bible, but I was definitely raised on Jesus, the teachings of Jesus, and uh, teachings of the Catholic school and the Catholic Church, of course. Um, and yeah, definitely strict. I actually did have two nuns for teachers, in my
Wow.
day. They didn't actually hit you I was born in 1980, so they were a little bit past the barbaric era where that was allowed to just hit students, but uh,
Mhm.
but wasn't too far from it. They were rough, but understandably, they were sisters. They live with other women, and they have this really kind of strict, severe lifestyle in a way. So they're gonna be stern with the kids too, right? But in general, Catholic school was kind of like that, and I have to say I wasn't a fan, but I didn't hate it, but didn't love it.
Mhm.
Then
Mhm.
in high school, I went to James Madison, which is a public school, and I was a little worried
Oh,
because as a
I know
Catholic school,
Madison.
did you went to Madison?
No,
You
no, I said I know Madison. I
did?
went to Murrow.
Oh, cool. Yeah. All right. So it's kind of like competitive
Yeah.
neighbors type of thing, right? Competing
Yeah, yeah,
against what? I don't know. I
exactly.
didn't play sports, so I wasn't competing anything. But I know it's like Madison, Merle, Midwood. That was kind of the thing. Um,
Yeah, yeah, Midwood.
yeah. But um, I liked, I definitely liked high school as a public school more than Catholic school
Hmm.
because my world was bigger. In Catholic school, I had very few. There's like three to. There's probably more, but it seemed like there's only three nationalities. There was like Irish, Italian, and for lack of Black, African American. I don't know what you want to call it, right? But that was pretty much what we saw. But when I got into
Yeah.
high school, there's Russians and Turkish and Puerto Rican and Israeli, and it was just much more interesting for me to be a
Yeah,
mix, a
yeah.
bigger blend. And
Hmm.
so then some of my closest friends were Jewish guys, and still to this day. And my first girlfriend was a Jewish girl. I thought she was Puerto Rican, and she was like what do you mean? And I'm Israeli. I'm like, okay, like I don't know Israeli, at that point. I did, my cousin's Puerto Rican, so she had a similar complexion, so so
Mm.
then I learned about, Judaism through my friends and my girlfriend. But I was going, after I finished middle school, I was going to church on my own volition. I was in a heavy metal
Oh,
band, but I would still go. Saturdays rehearsing with the metal band, my wearing black patches, Metallica and all that. And Sunday I would go to church, wake up at 10 and go there by myself and like pray. And I was sincere about it because I felt when
yeah,
I didn't pray, it was better when I prayed than when I didn't pray. That's my basic sense. Things went smoother. And also my dad
yeah,
died. My dad died when I was 6. So I got this like really early on kind of lesson that bad things happen, and compound that with Catholic guilt. Like, if I'm not good, then bad things are gonna happen. That's basically
yeah,
how I interpreted that. So that's kind of partially what drove me to go to church and all that. But I noticed the guilt thing was pretty heavy. I couldn't articulate it because I'm like, this is just, how dare I question the church?
hmm,
But I saw that my Jewish friends didn't really get what I was talking about, or if I mentioned Jesus, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm good." I'm like, "What do you mean you? It's Jesus." But so I learned from the Jesus example. I think deeply. I took it to heart, but I eventually started to see that him as a person, his teachings, his behavior, I can relate to and appreciate. But what the church was kind of doing, I couldn't really, it didn't seem freeing. It didn't seem
yeah,
expansive. It didn't seem all encompassing because I would hear them say, if you don't follow Jesus, then you're going to burn in hell, things like that. I'm like, well, some of my best friends and my girlfriend are going to burn in hell. What am I doing here? I couldn't change my best friends and my girlfriend. That's the people I liked. So anyway, so I had this kind of crisis and that expanded into the years into college. I was seeking. I went less heavy metal and into more folk music. But my son says when he hears my heavy metal music from high school and my folk music in college, he says the folk music is actually darker than the heavy metal stuff
interesting.
because it's more introspective and like just like really
Wow.
digging into my own soul. Like, the heavy metal was a little more just like screaming anger and like apocalyptic scenarios and kind of more storytelling, I guess. But then, the folk stuff was more introspecting, pulling this crap out of my heart, whatever. Uh, but eventually that phase passed. But so through it all, searching, not happy with the church, even though I respected the teaching of Jesus. Fast forward 2009, I go to India for a study abroad. And then
Mm.
I'm 28 at this point, and I had discovered Buddhism uh, the year before, and I started chanting. So this is not the Buddhism I practice is not a meditating Buddhism. I do meditate, but that's my own choice. Uh, the Buddhism I practice is a chanting one. So we chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo in this rhythm,
Okay.
Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And basically, we believe it's the fundamental law of the universe that we're reciting,
Mm.
and that as we chant it, we get in rhythm with Earth herself, with the universe itself. You could chant slow, you could chant fast. So that I always like praying as a Catholic, but I didn't like the words Our Father, and it didn't make sense to me, Hail Mary. But chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, getting in rhythm with the law of the universe. That felt right, beyond male or female, just the law of the universe itself. And that
Mhm.
every thought I have, every word I say is a cause that I'm making, and that every cause is going to have an effect in my world. So then I
Yeah,
just start to really more and more align that every, every action, every word I say is making a cause. So I want to make good causes, good causes, good causes. So
absolutely.
it doesn't mean just like being a nice guy all the time, but it means doing, acting from your heart, acting from compassion, you know, and also importantly, not saying stupid things, or not doing things that are going to create a bad cause that's going to affect
Hmm.
one down the line, you know. And it's a process. Obviously, you don't take all of bad habits away in a day, or undo sort of bad karma in a day. And karma is not neither good nor bad. It's just like sort of a trajectory that we're in.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
So,
exactly. I think
it
people,
could be a perfectly, really just a lot of good karma, that's possible too, right? It's not like, but
yeah.
it's kind of like, I think karma as fundamental root means doing or action. So if you have to
Hmm.
make an action, there's going to be some sort of like fallout, or there's going to be some consequence or effect. So how do I make
Yeah.
causes that are creating effects that I want to see, that I want to live with?
Mm.
And that's what Buddhism trained me to do. It gave me a way to do it. Of course, you don't have to be a Buddhist to get in tune with the universe, but I liked to have a vehicle, that I could get in. I could drive. I can get into that chanting vehicle every morning and chant and feel like I'm actually cleansing. It's almost like you have a dirty hose and you turn it on. For a while, a lot of dirt's going to come out, but then
Yeah, yeah.
eventually it's going to be all clear water. So that's how I felt when I was chanting. I was like, there's a lot of gunk coming up for a while. And then it started to be just clear water, just a lot more pure energy. And I was able to serve as a leader because I was just experiencing a lot of benefit, like bubbling up. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing pretty good. So I didn't say like, oh, can I be a leader? But in the organization, they see who's thriving in their practice, and then people have the opportunity to whatever. I don't regret it. I'm not a leader now. It was a part of my journey. 7 years, I was held leadership positions in the
Wow.
SGI. That's the Buddhism that I practice. Anyway, that's a little bit of my journey. I just kind of took a
Yeah,
sidetrack
that's
there.
incredible. That's incredible. I mean, yeah, um, to to hear a journey like that, I think it it gives me, kind of gives me this idea that like I'm whatever I'm doing, I'm heading in the right direction.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's great to
it's
hear.
all an unfolding, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's why I want to write my autobiography is because I have this journey that I think it's worth sharing. I like people's stories. So when people tell me their stories or I hear a story in a podcast, especially if it's sincere and it's not show offy, like, okay, this guy has sold this many things here or has, this many followers. That's fine. That's nice. But I don't like things that make me feel jealous. I don't want to put out things that make other people feel jealous. I just want to show what a true human life can look like in all its in a transparent way as much as
Hmm.
possible without being like unnecessarily transparent. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I always thirsted for that, and that's part of the incentive of this podcast is like we're the podcast where people just talk to each other and they don't show
Yeah,
off and they
that
don't,
type of like,
you
I
know,
get it.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
because I remember listening to podcasts a lot, and I was going to work teaching guitar. And I'd be like, oh man, this guy achieved this thing and this thing. And it's all good ideas. But then I didn't feel relaxed in who I was. I'm like, man, I'm just working all these hours teaching. And there's so much more I want to do with my music. And there's so few sales, so few fans, whatever. And in a way, it made me feel bad, even though I was getting a lot of ideas, inspiration. It was just too much. So I was thinking, it
Hmm.
was almost like caffeine or something. It's like, it feels good, but I need to put more rest into my system or more, I'm okay as I am. I'm I'm
Yeah.
I'm worthy. So
Hmm.
if I could find that in the podcast, if I could find that in media, because we could just not listen to media, right? But media kind of keeps us company sometimes when we're doing our thing. And in this era, for sure, where it's so easy to just put your headphones in and
Yeah,
listen while you're
yeah.
traveling or whatever, or at home. Uh, I thought, wouldn't it be nice if there are options where people could just kind of hang out, be a fly on the wall to two or more human beings or one human being,
Hmm.
whatever, if it's a soliloquy format, just expressing themselves in a way that's kind of like a philosopher, kind of philosophically, you know, like this is my story, and this is how my views, what if this.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah. What do you think about philosophy? Do you have I imagine you're a bit of a philosopher with, your questions of what if, and I don't know.
Yeah. Well, typically uh I meditate, and a lot of times what I ask during my meditations, like I ask myself, like, do I what do I appreciate more, like the end goal, where like there's a position where like if I reach that I've done everything I needed to do, or a journey. And I always double back to like the journey. So and I kind of did my book that way because my book, it has bindings that you can open, and that's part of the reason why I couldn't get like a press company to do it for me. They don't do formats like that. So
Mhm.
my book, so the binding is where anybody can open it, because I want to be able to, anyone who buys my book and is genuinely interested in learning more, is I'm going to be able to send them out more pages to add to the book.
Wow,
Yeah. And
interesting.
so back to, sorry, I kind of like delved off a little bit, but but
It's an
but yeah,
open,
really
free-flowing
just
talk, man.
yeah. But I ask myself those questions every time I meditate, and it kind of gives me peace to kind of like just question my motivations and stuff like that. And I double check every time I want to do something, and see, is this the journey that you want to take? Is this the path that you want to take? And if not, you reconsider and you do things a little bit differently. And it genuinely like makes me um happy. I don't know if it's happy, but like, so like me heading to this climate meeting is I ended up meeting you there, and now we're doing a podcast together, and like who knows
Hmm.
what's next.
Right,
And
right.
so
Yeah, I see
little
what you're
things like
saying. Yeah, like happiness is kind of what does that even mean, right? Yeah, but I get what it could mean perhaps is it allows you to feel natural, maybe.
that. So
I think that's kind of my I'm not saying it doesn't make you happy. I'm just saying happiness is kind of a funny term sometimes. It's a loaded term. I get like love,
yeah,
right? I mean,
whatever you want to.
I certainly believe in love, but I believe in only unconditional love. I think there's only love is on or love is off. There's no I love you more, I love you less. That's not possible in my world. It's just love is like the sun. The sun gives light. It doesn't ask
Yeah.
questions. Doesn't care if you're good, if you're bad, if you're ugly or
Hmm.
beautiful, right? So that's the love I aim to embody,
Hmm.
not preference. Like, oh, Kai's here. Kai's so cute. He's my son. I love him. Yeah, I love him, but that feeling of I love him more than others is this animal sort of instinct thing. It's not love, to me.
Yeah, yeah,
It's something else. It's possessiveness or whatever it is, attachment. But love is just that field around us that says, I am where I belong. I'm not dictating this is how I feel. I am where I belong, and every part of my environment is an extension of me somehow. And if
yeah.
it's all oneness. So you right now we're in conversation. You're an extension of me. This computer, my son over here, the house I'm in. So why would I not embody love for all? Because
Hmm.
everything in my environment is a part of my world. So I'm going to love it all because I'd rather live in a place that I'm filling with love than in a place that I'm taking love away from, because I got to live here. Uh,
It's just
there's different ways to look
um,
at it. But so love, what was the other loaded word? Happiness. Um, yeah. So I don't know. I'm just kind of philosophizing here, and I could change my opinion on half of it tomorrow.
yeah, yeah. That's okay. But yeah, I read a short story specifically addressing how people their definition of love is a um th- is like just like a temporary feeling. Like
Hmm.
that's how we define it. But it was the reason that philosophers considered love a virtue was because of how difficult it was to achieve that. So like you were saying, like without like jealousy and
Hmm.
without envy and these things that like separate
Attachment.
us from
Hmm.
each other. So like you have to kind of like remove all of those things in order to achieve or like whatever their definition of love is. So that's
Sure.
really interesting.
And well, with Christianity, I felt when I became a Buddhist that I was really kind of living up to my promise to Jesus. If I'm a true follower of Jesus, in my story, I had to become a Buddhist. I know it sounds funny, but Jesus himself wasn't a Christian, right? He was a
Yeah.
Jew. So it's
Mhm.
not like anyway, he was a Jew doing something that was not in accord with the Jewish law. So here
Yeah,
I
yeah.
follow him. I'm going to be Christian. I'm not really going to follow that 100% either because that's to be like him, to break the laws. That's more like him than to just follow what I'm born into. But there's no point in breaking the laws if they're really good laws. But if they're not quite helping me to thrive or make the world more peaceful, then it's worth reconsidering. But
Yeah.
Jesus really embodied, if we, depending on what story we're hearing, but I think more or less we get a picture of Jesus from the Gospels that he was really embodied love, true love. I think that's kind of what made it different from the Old Testament is that the New Testament is really about love and forgiveness. Uh,
Hmm.
and so, but Jesus's love, he went into the trenches, man. He went to visit the lepers. He went to a leper
Yeah.
colony. How many people have courage to do that? He wasn't hanging with the cool kids. He would,
Mm.
if they came to him, he would share the message with them. But he's like, I'm going to go where the suffering is deeper. And who does that sound like?
Yeah.
Sounds like Buddha to me. Sounds like Shakyamuni. The Buddhists go, the theme of Buddhism is to eliminate suffering, to put an end to suffering. That's what Jesus was doing with this open love. So I felt like the church wasn't really giving me this ability to be open and loving to everyone, especially when some of them are going to go to hell, some of my closest friends, just because they're not Christian. So I'm like, if Buddhism is really expanding and it's really helping people to empower them to be happy and to follow their dreams and to improve themselves as humans, that sounds more like what Jesus was talking about. So I'm going to do that. It's a way, it's a way that I can. It's not the only way, right? But that's the way that I found in my reality that I could join and learn something from and practice. And that's what I did. And I only appreciate Jesus and his teachings even more as a Buddhist, not less.
Wow. That's incredible. And it makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
You ever listen to Alan Watts or read Alan Watts?
Not familiar.
So he's a
What's it?
philosopher. He was I don't know remember when he was born, but he was writing books in the 50s, 60s, somewhere around there, giving lectures. And it was from him. So my dad, like I said, he died young when I was 6, but he left behind a huge bookshelf filled with all sorts of books, including from sci-fi to fantasy to mystery, but also he had a lot of philosophy too. And one of those on the philosophy shelf uh, was Alan Watts. Um, and Alan Watts is this English British guy, philosopher, who he was kind of like one of the first guys to really bridge Eastern culture into English language. So he would talk about Buddhism and Japanese culture and Shintoism as well, because that's Shintoism is in Japan. He really learned
Yeah.
about the East and he put it in words that people like us who are Westerners can really chew on and comprehend. And and he made it very uh, it's really beautiful. I encourage you could check him out. Alan Watts, Watts. There are some channels that kind of like have his old lectures, or like they kind of do this AI version of using his voice to some of his writings. But it
Uh,
just it's this timeless philosophy, and he really explains Jesus very well and Buddha, and he explains how it's all a game. You know, being a person is a game, and uh, but it's a beautiful game. And anyway, he's a philosopher I would recommend looking into, as well as Ram Dass. Do you know Ram Dass?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Ram Dass is this. He wrote "Be Here Now," the book "Be Here Now," and he was into like LSD, and he was a teacher at Harvard or something. And then he went on this spiritual journey to India, and he brought so Alan Watts brought kind of like Eastern philosophy of Japan, maybe China a bit to the West. Ram Dass brought Indian philosophy to Americans or to the West, and he's very funny to listen to. Both of them are kind of funny. Alan Watts is British, Ram Dass is American, but they both passed away at this point. But those are guys. They're not Buddhist. That's not the Buddhism I practice, but their philosophies guided me,
yeah,
and
yeah.
how you can merge Christianity and Buddhism as one thing, and find that practice for yourself, which seems like you found with your perhaps in an agnostic way, to use your word, but in your
Mhm.
meditation.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. But yeah, I'm heading down that road. I see it like it becomes more and more a part of my life, and then I start doing research um, and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely have an interesting path when it comes to that.
Um, what does your meditation look like, if you don't mind me asking? I really don't think there's any rules. There doesn't have to be rules, but
Oh,
of
no,
course,
yeah.
each person makes rules,
Um,
that work for them or they follow a certain thing. But
so typically what I do it like every time I wake up. Sometimes before I go to sleep, but I do box breathing. I don't know if you know what that is.
yeah, like
So
four in, four, 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 or maybe eight, whatever it is,
yeah,
whatever
yeah,
number.
4 4 4 4. So I do box breathing, and and then I just talk to myself. I start by being grateful for a lot of things that I have, and then I work on like visualization about paths that I'm gonna take. Sometimes I do it just for the day. If I have like a busy schedule, I think about like um, what are the things that are going to make me happy that day. If this thing that's in my schedule is worthy of my time, um, and other times when I'm not so busy, I'll meditate for a longer period of time. So like maybe like 40 minutes, and I think about further down the line. I think about like where do I see myself in 20 years or something like that. and
Uh-huh.
and 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 if what I'm doing today is going to help me get there. And then just goals and stuff like that, but mostly the thing uh that I focus on is like making other people happy. So I'm like, okay, I'll choose like a family member, sometimes a few family members, and I think about like what is the thing that 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 if I were to give that to them would make them in make them incredibly happy, or do something better in their lives. And sometimes I tear up when I think about like some of the things that I can offer, just to see their happiness or to end their suffering in a way and stuff like that. So
Uh,
that's yeah, that's my form of meditation. And then I do some more breathing, and then I kind of just sit still and just relax, and then that's it.
wow. So it sounds to me like you're not overly strict with yourself. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's more about intentionality and making the time, making sure you
Hmm.
put time to it, and intending these, to be on the journey that you want to be on, to have a positive impact on the people that matter to you. Is that
Yeah.
true? Like you're not super strict about. your posture and the type of breathing, or are you?
No, no, I'm not super strict about that. Um,
Mm,
I'm still fairly early in in uh, uh in like those type of things. I gotta find like the best things because there's times where I get up and I have to rush out the door and like
mm,
I'll try to meditate in the bathroom or something like that and stuff like that. So
yeah, naturally.
still getting the hang of like taking 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 my space and making sure that I get that done
Hmm.
above all else.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
that's just
yes.
a practice I have to learn. Yeah.
So vital, right? Yeah. I mean, I learned it the I don't know about the hard way, but I learned it in my life that if I don't really prioritize self-care, then I kind of only have myself to blame. I don't know how else to say it,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
know, people are going to be themselves. You're going to meet people where they're
Mhm.
at. We can't change them. And understandably, we can't change others because it's hard enough to change ourselves or to
Mhm.
form a new habit, for example, you know. So, and we wouldn't want anyone to change us, you know. We wouldn't want your brother or your mother to like force you to be different. That's not cool. So
Yeah.
I'm just like speaking out loud, thinking out loud, you know, like so. I've definitely given up trying to change anyone, and like you know, with especially close family members where that's tempting, you know. Um,
Mhm.
and I've learned to rather than think other people should be any different, say to myself, well, okay, well, I can be different, and maybe one of the ways I'm going to be different is just I'm going to say no more often. You know, I'm gonna because I'm historically it's a for some people they need to say yes more often, right? But for me, I'm historically a giver. You know, like I said, my dad
Yeah.
died young, so I'm the older brother, so I was like the one who always tried to kind of overcompensate for my whole life, and
Yeah. Or appease them.
plus,
Yeah.
yeah, and having that extra bit of Catholic guilt of like I really want to be, you know, I want to look good in front of the eyes of God or in front of the eyes of the teacher or the authority, you know. I had
Yeah.
that too. So is that so it's nobody's fault that if I feel burned out by those behaviors, I have to see that some of that was a program that I, you know, agreed to at a young age and that worked for a certain part of my life, but I may not work as a 44-year-old dad,
Yeah.
diabetic, whatever role I have now, you know. So putting self-care first, like today, my mom, she might even be listening. It's not against you, mom, don't worry. Is She invited me for coffee, but I really needed to just take care of my back. My back hurt. I just wanted to lay down,
Mhm.
stretch, so that you know when I do the podcast, I wouldn't be like regretting sitting down for a while. And I feel good now, but
Yeah.
I had to take that time to just lay down and kind of do nothing today.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
self care is I think it's essential.
Mhm. And I'm definitely one of those that kind of like says yes way more often than I should, or even when I don't want to kind of like just uh, please people. And
Yeah.
I definitely that's something that I have to work on. Like
Mhm.
I don't know where that came from, but I've always been that way. Yeah, practice. I gotta practice saying no.
Yeah, and I totally get it, and it's important to see whatever our weakness is, you know, or let's say our tendency, you know, rather than weakness. So we tend towards this rather than that, and whenever we have a tendency, that means there's the potential for an imbalance somewhere, right? So
Mhm.
if we give too much to others, thinking that we're doing the right thing out of habit, out of guilt, or out of a sincere kind of misperception or whatever, then we could see that, oh shoot, my body's hurting or my head hurts or my I'm resentful towards this person trying to help. What's going on here? You know, and then pull back and say, how can I go back to zero? I think that's the most important part about not Nichiren Buddhism, not the Buddhism that I practice, but like let's say Tibetan Buddhism, other forms of Buddhism. is like getting to zero or Zen,
Oh,
right? To that 0 point where like basically you don't exist, kind of, and meaning that there is no push or pull, no attachment to this must be this way, this must be that way. That you just in pure acceptance of what is, but in a comfortable way, not
yeah, of course, of
not
course.
like I give up. And no, this is like I'm at peace with what is, that type of
Hmm.
because only from there can we. I think true love comes from neutrality. If you're negative, how are you going to be have true love? And if you're overly positive, like, oh, Kai's the best, I love you so much. That's a little too much. It's a neutral love, I
Yeah,
believe,
that's
which is
the intensity of feeling. That's not is you're not
right,
describing
exactly.
it.
Yeah, right. Which is not totally fine, and different cultures have different ways of expressing it, some more than others. But intensity of feeling could go from love to hate too, right? We see that in movies and stuff where husband and wife passionate and they hate each other. How could that? What is that?
Yeah.
That's not love. It wasn't love to start with. It was something else.
Mhm.
So like that's why I think true love is this neutral place of starts with self-love. I truly love this being that I am and all that this being touches and that the world this being inhabits. I think Kai wants to say something.
What's
Yeah.
up, Kai?
So what are you
Hey.
attention for by not talking? He has red bananas. I think he wants to share red bananas with you. Well, oh, he wants to borrow my phone. Kai, you have to say hi.
Hey, what's going on, man?
He's
Uh,
so weird, man. He's sometimes he's like not shy at all. He just talk, 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 and then he's like, then he's shy mode.
reserve dog.
Well, I know, but you are. Uh, yeah. So, yeah, being a dad is one of the great trainings, right? As a human being.
Absolutely. I have a 17-year-old daughter. We're
17.
preparing her. Yeah, we're preparing her for college, looking at colleges and stuff like that.
Uh,
And I wrote a message in my book that was specifically for her. I said, uh, nothing better prepares me for the world like you do. Yeah,
nice.
that was dedicated to her. But yeah, yeah, it's been an interesting journey, and I'm sad to see. Well, I'm not sad, but like the the road up till now was like um you know me doing a lot for her, and now she's doing so much for herself, and I kind of just feel empty-handed. But
Hmm.
I love to see her grow too,
Yeah.
and become her own person. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sure. But it can't be easy. I don't think anybody could let go of the reins flawlessly.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, I mean, Kai's 10, so I know 10 happened fast. So I know 17 will be here before you know it.
Absolutely, it happens really fast. It happens really fast. So yeah,
Yeah.
you just gotta enjoy the time when they're
Hmm.
with you. When they're bothering you, you're gonna miss that type of stuff.
Yeah. I try to remind myself because I'm pretty good at it, I have to say. Like, I take a deep breath. I'm like, or I just tell him, look, you're annoying the heck out of me right now. I love you, but can you give me a few minutes or whatever. I try to do it. At least, I don't blow up at him. I try not to.
Yeah,
But
yeah, of course.
um, yeah, and I try to remind myself that he's a he's so much. I was looking at photos from 5 years ago. He was much smaller. So I'm like, he's gonna get big, even bigger soon. So just
Hmm.
let him be the kid. Because when the kid's not the kid, he's not gonna be the kid again. So
Yeah.
just try to enjoy that. And how's your uh journey of parenthood been?
Um, Turbulent, I guess
Mhm.
is the word. Turbulent, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, it's it's there's there's awesome times, there's fearful times, and but in retrospect you look back and you're like, there's frustrating times, but then you look back and you're like, oh, I loved all of it.
Yeah.
Everything, even the scary times, even the annoying times, even when you're upset with your kids, and now I look back and I'm like, oh, I miss it all. Like if I could do it all again, I would.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful thing, right? To have had
Hmm.
to see it all with appreciation.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
remember
And
I was in a doctor's office maybe 2016 or something. So Kai was just one maybe, and somehow I got to talking with one of the guys in the office who also a patient. It was for diabetes, and but he was much older. I don't know, I guess
mhm.
70s or something. Whatever. I was in my 30s still, and he's like, "Oh, it's beautiful. You got a baby boy. You know, like take tons of pictures. Take because they're just gonna be grown before you know it. And if you don't have those pictures." And I'm thinking, well, my wife takes a lot of pictures. I'm pretty sure I do, but
Mhm.
I don't like. I was leaning towards more like be in the moment because we take too much pictures. That's how I was feeling. But then
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
said that
I like that too.
you know, because then you're backing up photos all the time because it's just the cameras. Like one day has 50 pictures. Like what? How you gonna back up all that? But plus movies, of course, tons of pictures to
Yeah. Oops,
you
sorry.
know. But but then I did think about it. I was like, because from especially when they're really young, 3 weeks to 3 months, so much changes. So you really got to take those pictures then, because and that when you look back and I hear his voice at that a different age, I'm like, oh, I remember that kid. That kid was so cute. He's nowhere to be found. He's gone forever. So I'm glad I captured that video. So
Yeah.
something to be said about that too.
Mhm.
What
Yeah.
about music?
You
You a
know.
fan of music?
Yeah, I actually in Murrow I played percussion.
Oh yeah, and the band.
Um, yes, yeah. Oh, well, we didn't have an official band. I mean, Murrow just like we had to do everything in house. Like we didn't have a field. We didn't have there weren't many like outside activities outside the
Hmm.
um place. But I only did that for my first year. I did percussion, but I was always interested in like playing instruments. I I know a little bit. I know a little bit of everything. I can't say that like I'm proficient enough to like perform on stage, but I played the piano. I had a guitar for a little while, and I tried that um,
Oh yeah.
for a little bit. But I've also written music uh, a few times. I've written for myself and I've written for other people. Uh,
Hmm.
Mostly like melodramatic, I guess you could say like R&B and rock and roll and rap.
Oh, cool. So what
Yeah.
about your? I didn't realize that. So definitely have wear many hats, many talents. What musical influences would you say you have? I mean, R&B, rap, but like any artist in particular, rock.
Uh, I mean, I would say for me, I guess as far as rock and roll, like Linkin Park kind
Okay.
of hit me hard.
Hmm.
And then a few artists adjacent to them, but nobody, um, no, like I don't know, like kind of like I just take a little bit of everything that just touches me. I don't
Hmm.
really dwell too hard on like a particular artist or anything like that. If because sometimes the I'll like one thing about them, but like the rest of their catalog, I'm not really interested. I kind of
Hmm.
just like I just wait and listen, and then if like something really touches me, then I'll just focus on that one little thing.
Uh-huh.
Um, but
Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I try everything. Like
Mhm.
like I don't know if it's the maybe I have a ADHD, but like I kind of like dive into everything. All types of music. There's nothing that I can't say that I haven't tried to listen to.
Wow. So
And
like if you listening to Spotify or Apple, whatever your platform is, what do? You just put on like you have your own playlist of your favorite tracks, or do you listen to music?
what what I actually have is I don't listen to any streaming music.
Okay.
I have my own like hard drive that I've had for probably 15 years, and I
Hmm.
just go back to that. It would be like the same music over and over again. I rarely like discover new music. If I
Hmm.
come across it, see something that's like I really enjoy, I'll throw it on the hard drive, and that'll be it. I have to get into streaming. I just never caught on. I don't know.
Wow, that's cool. Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, and
streaming is yeah, it works, but I do like
mhm.
the idea of having it physically. And, that's kind of like in spirit with your book, right? Because well, if we have no electricity, it wouldn't work. But if the grid goes down, like no internet, and you have electricity, you can still listen to music, right?
Oh,
Because
I'm absolutely big on that. I'm big on that. Not just music, but like all types of media.
yeah.
I just like I guess the preservation of history.
Hmm.
So like I, I do all types of stuff at my favorite media, books and everything. I always try to either have a physical version or like an offline digital version.
That's cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's cool. It's just a tricky thing, just in general for anybody. But being an artist, like when finish a song or a video or something, I have two hard drives I back it up to, but like supposedly you're supposed to have three, and I'm working on it. I also really like to back things up on CD. CDs
Yeah,
only,
CDs are very resilient. Like
yeah,
they
right,
hold up
exactly.
really well compared to hard drive.
It's just that say I have like whatever it is, photos from 91 to 94 on this one, photos 2000, 2001 here. But then when you get to these recent years, you know, photos 2019 might be 24 gigs. So then
Yeah, yeah.
I need like five CDs to do that. And I want to
Uh,
like, delete all the doubles and stuff. So it's this ongoing process,
mhm,
but it's fun because it's in tandem with my book, going through photos and everything and reliving. I like timelines, even though I don't really believe in time. I'm fascinated
mhm,
with how things flow from one season to the
yeah.
next, and
Mhm,
it's interesting to me.
yeah. I think you find out a lot about yourself when you pay attention to those to that type of stuff. Like just
Yes,
looking at the whole time. Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah.
It's the 8:30 song. Yeah, this guy, this guy loves hanging out with his dad. I have to say,
That's
he's
awesome.
always calling Dad. When are you gonna, when are we gonna do this or when are we gonna do that? Yeah, I don't complain about it, but I don't want him to be too attached to me either.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
but
Um,
so Darren has a 17-year-old daughter.
I heard.
Yeah.
I heard from upstairs. Or
So are you gonna turn 17 too one day, or he's gonna stay?
are you gonna become older than 44?
Oh yeah, then I'm gonna have to be older too, right? I'm gonna have to be 7 years older too. That might not be such a good idea. Yeah. So when you tell me your music listening preference or style, it reminded me I had a guest on the podcast a few months ago, a guy named Billy, Mr. Billy Gryzak. And this is a lifelong musician. He was born into music. His family, I think three generations. So like technically his family's been in the music business for over 100 years, right? So this guy
wow.
who plays tons of songs. Uh, and a couple of interesting things he said that surprised me as a musician myself was one that he doesn't. I asked him what his favorite artists are, he has a few favorite artists, but a little bit like your answer. He said he's like, I don't really listen to. I'm not an artist guy. I'm not. He said he's not an album guy. He doesn't listen to albums. He listens to like his favorite song. So he'll find a song that he likes, and he makes a playlist of just all his favorite songs. It's Def Leppard and Bon Jovi, then it's Kiss, and then it's the Beatles, and
Mhm.
just like that. And he actually said the same thing. He's like, maybe I have ADHD, but this is how I don't like to dwell on the same thing for too long. I like to move on.
Yeah.
And uh, that surprised me a little bit. Not that much, but there's a lifelong musician. He's toured, he's performed countless gigs. He just doesn't listen
Yeah,
to
yeah.
albums. And he barely has. I think he could tell you his top five favorite artists, but beyond that, it's like he kind of likes a little bit of everything.
hmm Like even shoot, like I'm a video game enthusiast, and
Okay,
I
yeah.
think the music that's used in a lot of video games get overlooked, and some of it is amazing. Like you saw the Zelda tattoo. I actually went
Mhm.
to a Zelda a concert. They had the orchestra, yeah, at the Met. This was a few years ago. They had like a concert series, and it
Oh
was
wow,
incredible.
that's great.
So like yeah, even in my playlists that I have on my computer, I have sometimes they'll be if I'm playing it and somebody's listening and they'll hear video game music and they're like, what the hell is going on?
Right, you're just hanging out and there's video game music playing, right? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
or you're working or something, right? Yeah, that's
hmm
great. I totally love video game music, and I agree. I think our generation's a little bit. I'm guessing you're mid '80s or something. You were born. I don't know
Yeah,
if you said
84.
'84. Okay, yeah, because you said you liked Ocarina of Time the most. If you were born early, you probably wouldn't be that. So that's why. And Linkin Park,
Oh,
which was a little bit later in the '90s, right? So
yeah,
yeah, my
yeah.
favorite Zelda was Zelda 1. Um,
Oh,
but
oh,
yes,
you're a hardcore
oh yeah,
guy.
oh yeah, I'm old school. And when like I started playing it like when I was 7 or something, like pretty much the year came out or a year after. And
hmm
back then it was like you really there was no obviously no internet, and you were lucky if you had Nintendo Power to tell you that thing. So
Yeah,
you were literally calling your neighbor, or like you knew one friend on another block who had the same games. Like, okay, I'm up to level 2. I don't know what to do. So you go to, okay, I'm going to try to go to the third room. And then what do I do with the bomb? Like that's how you had to do it.
yeah.
And you really wanted to know because
hmm
you didn't know and you want to advance. It was so compelling. Um, so anyway, I love that music, Mario, right? So when I was in college, first year or so, maybe second year, I composed a guitar quartet in the spirit of what you're saying. A guitar quartet, classical guitar, 4 guitars, classical, called Nintendo Medley, and I had music from Zelda 1, Super Mario 1, and Super Mario 3. Well, I just sat there by ear. I recorded those. I put the Nintendo on the TV. I put a tape recorder cassette in there, recorded it, and then I would just like sit there and play back like seconds at a time. Stop, figure out the part, notate it.
Yeah.
Long, long process, and then eventually I got all the parts, put them together, trained the musicians. I rehearsed them at Brooklyn College, and it was such a hit that even last week, people that somewhere on that train at Brooklyn College, guitarists, they requested it to be performed at Madison High School this spring. So
Wow, that's
that
amazing.
was 2001 that I composed that or arranged it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so
That's
that
something
was
that I would go see.
okay.
Absolutely, that's something that and I've
All
done the
right.
same thing. Like I used to, I would have a keyboard and I would listen to a video game, and I would sit there and try to replicate that on the piano. So that was something that I did often.
It's good music, man, right? Like it's
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
different, it's its own style, like so I
Mhm.
went to Brooklyn College Conservatory of Music, and I was studying music. I was a composer major, composition major, not a performance major. So I was learning about, you know, music in a classical traditional sense, classical music, and and jazz, but music that was like sort of well respected and established. And there was no
Mhm.
talk of video game music, right? And barely even talk of rock at that time. So I brought that to the table. I'm like, video game music is really good, and it's its own thing. It's kind of like classical because it's instrumental, but they use different rhythms. It's a different approach because it's all electronic. So you don't have to act like do what a real oboe would do with taking breath. You could just let the line go run and run because you don't need to breathe and stuff
Mhm.
like that. Or you could hype the tempo up, right? A lot of video game music, like Mega Man, for example, it's all pretty fast. Or Ninja Gaiden, if you ever heard that music, it moves
Yeah, yeah,
fast.
yeah.
So like
Mhm.
to play that in real time will be very challenging. Of course, some people can do it, but most likely it was composed slow, and then they just sped up the tempo and said, "Oh, that sounds better. Let's keep it." You know. So yeah, I like was a part of convincing at least some teachers who are a different generation that video game music is a valid art form. So when I brought the Nintendo medley, and they heard it like,
Yeah, yeah,
oh, and
yeah.
they're like, "Oh wow, this is really good. Let's do that part again." That was kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
Say something. I love video games from the NES, especially because of
Ah.
this guy. Favorite games on the NES are games that I could basically beat him at. Um, I
no
love
way.
this overlooked game that really should be much more popular called Bucky O'Hare. It's
Oh, I know that game. I know that game.
Yeah.
really
Did you know that there's an arcade version of
Bucky
that
O'Hare.
one that is like it's essentially the same game, but like there's better graphics,
Oh,
there's more animations and stuff
interesting.
like that. So you got to
Did
check
you know
that
it's a
out.
cartoon?
Yeah, yeah. I used to watch the cartoon when I was a young
It
kid.
Really?
is a great
Yeah,
cartoon.
Oh man, wow. Yeah, I missed that when it came out.
It's a great cartoon.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's still on YouTube. It's 13
Oh, they have it on
episodes
YouTube.
only on YouTube, and it's just one channel, and you can't see it anywhere else. Lucky that that person
Wow.
captured it.
Yeah, yeah. You see like stuff like that. I like that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
They
and that
track the
video game,
history.
I just love. I love that video game. It's a lot like
Yeah.
Mega Man 1 and Mega Man 4. And I also love every single game in the Mega Man series on the NES. I love Mega Man 1, Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3, Mega Man 4. And 4 is probably the best, but then 5 and 6, which are overlooked, came out after, and it's just like 4 duplicated again and again. And those
Yeah,
games
yeah.
are just as good or better, in my opinion.
I'm big on the Mega Man X series. That
Yeah.
was like my
I like Mega Man X1, I like Mega Man X2, and I don't care for Mega Man X3. I'm
yeah.
not a
I
big Mega Man X fan. To me, it's like you took Mega Man and just stamped Metroid in its face. Like it's more like Metroid
That's
than
a good
anything.
one. That's a good way of looking at it.
And that's why I don't like it that much. I don't care for Metroid.
It's hard. It's hard. The bosses in Mega Man X are quite
Oh,
tough.
there's the reason why I don't like Mega Man X3 as much is because there's mini bosses in like every board after you beat two
Mhm.
bosses, and it just stops. And they're harder than the literal bosses, which is the worst part.
What
Mhm.
so besides Zelda Ocarina of Time, what other are some of your other favorite games?
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of Mega Man. Um, uh, the Final Fantasy series, I think is unmatched, especially if we're talking about music. Is one of those
Oh yeah,
things.
music, forget about it. That's
Um,
great. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Uh, the Metroid for sure. Um, uh, to a lesser extent, there's like a couple of not so popular games that like they're not like mainstream, which is
Mhm.
that they kind of like focus on like the art of the art in video games and not so much like you're playing
Playability.
something to reach a goal. So
Oh,
like
okay.
one of my favorites is called Unwritten Swan. It was like a the PlayStation 3 had like a series of a bunch of like small games that you could only download off the internet. Like you couldn't like buy it in a store or anything. And
Hmm.
yeah. So they had that.
Unwritten Swan, you said it was called?
Yeah, and there was another one called Flower. I don't know if you ever heard of Flower.
No.
It was you're basically it was interesting. You're basically just like a rose petal in a field, and like you control the rose petal, and you gather other rose petals. And it may seem like simple and not interesting, but like the whole theme was about the climate.
Really?
And so like you play through these levels, and you gather and you make the grass green. And then in later levels, they have like pollution in the air, and you have to like kind of clean it. Really interesting stuff.
I love
But
that. Yeah, I love games that are
I like those type
totally
of games.
outside the box like that. That's
Yeah, 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 yeah. There's another one called Echo Chrome, where basically the way you play the game is it's a character that's moving from one part of the screen to the other, and you kind of have to change the perspective of the camera to change the layout of the level so he can get from one place to the other. You probably see that more often now, but Echo Chrome, when it came out, that was like the first of its kind. It kind of looks like a hand-drawn video game.
oh really? Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
experimental stuff like that I really like.
that. Sounds cool. A friend of mine, I have no idea what the game was called, but he said it was like a game where you just explore worlds, but there's no like winning or losing or anything. Like you just kind of, picture like a Zelda world, and you go from this place into this building, and you just walk around it, and it takes you into another
Hmm.
realm, and you just explore. I forget what I don't know if you know any games like that, but you just explore. So you can't die, you can't
Yeah, yeah.
win. It's just this like
Hmm.
dream world exploration. Sounds pretty cool to me.
Yeah. Oh, that I love stuff like that. I love stuff like that. Try to let me know what the name of that is, so I can
Okay.
I would
Yeah.
definitely like to check it out.
Hmm. Cool.
And can I say something else? Another thing is that I'm a big Kirby fan, especially the very first Kirby on the NES. I just love that game. It's so beautiful,
Mm,
especially in the later levels. Like it shows the boards from the past in black and white. It's
yeah, 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 yeah. That's really cool. Like that. I think Kirby has great artwork too. Like I
yeah,
love.
and especially Kirby 64 is also an amazing game. And
Mhm.
sometimes 64 games makes me feel a little weird. Kirby 64 makes me feel completely fine. I have no effects whatsoever.
Yeah, I think when they were transitioning to 3D games, they had like this shadowy effect that kind of
Hmm.
like made everything kind of blurry and stuff like that. They were still working out how to fix those type of things. So
So
it's interesting because there's games that have that, and it's part of the charm as opposed to other games that have it, and it's kind of like disorienting.
okay,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
So for
almost like
Ocarina of Time, that that wasn't hard for you to play, like visually, didn't hurt your eyes or anything.
I don't remember that being the case. I don't remember that being the case. I know that there were certain sections of the game where it was much more intense, but I don't remember it. I don't remember being bothered by it that much. Yeah, I don't
Mm-hmm.
think so. Yeah, I think I had that problem. But we were playing it on tube TVs, not on
Yeah,
HD TVs, where
right,
like
right.
you kind of have to change the resolution to make it look clear, or
Mm,
or like make it look like it did back then. It's it's
yeah.
it's kind of just it doesn't work when you're using like an emulator or like a newer version of it because they're not high definition games.
Okay, I see. Yeah, when we've tried N64 games in my computer emulator using like a Super Nintendo controller because I don't have N64 controller. So you can get
Yeah,
the feel, you could play, but it's certainly not the same. Um,
yeah, yeah. It's
but
definitely not. But you can like work with the settings. I don't know what emulator you're using, but you could definitely work with the settings to make it look good enough to play on a regular computer screen.
mm,
I don't know if you
okay.
use like RetroArch or there's
What do I
there's so
use?
many emulators.
I have
There's so many.
Open EMU.
Oh, okay. I know exactly what you're talking about. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's on the Mac, right? I think I have that one too.
Right. Yeah, we're
Okay.
mostly Nintendo and Super Nintendo is fine, and Genesis, Sega too, Master System we play, and we love Atari as well.
Yeah, yeah.
2600, 5200, sometimes 7800 Atari
70,
games even.
78, right? I always say 76.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm a big retro guy. Like as a matter of
Mhm.
fact, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Raspberry Pi. It's
Yes, we
like
have
a
one.
single board. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, we
I
have
um
one.
I
It doesn't work well. We have one. It's called or whatever, but it is a Raspberry Pi, and
RetroPie.
a Retro Pi. It's based on the Raspberry Pi format, and it looks
yeah.
like a mini Super Nintendo. We have one of those, and it has
Hmm.
like games from every single system except some PAL. So this is like, you have the controller plugs into this like, Raspberry Pi console looking thing, which goes into the
Yeah.
TV. But somehow we just like did something, and all of a sudden all the Nintendo games don't play. Then we did something, and none of the Sega games work anymore. So
And then
that's
Oh
the
wow.
Raspberry Pi we have.
then all the Atari games don't work anymore.
Yeah. But we can play Super Nintendo.
Oh.
So oh, we own
But
Game Boy, Game Boy Color, GBA, Game Boy Advance,
yeah, still, I mean, compared
Super
to
Nintendo, and I think that's it.
when we were kids, what do you have? 20 games in your collection if you're lucky, right? Or maybe 40.
Yeah.
So having hundreds is still not bad, but it's just a shame that you don't have
Mm.
the everything that you thought you had.
Oh.
Well, you have a Raspberry
But
Pi that works well.
wow. Yeah, I actually do that on the side. Like I build Raspberry Pi systems for people
Oh
and
wow.
put like retro games on it and sell it. I've been doing that for a couple of years.
Oh
You
wow.
I also build like arcades, like arcade systems, and I put a
Hmm.
retro Pi inside, so it looks like one of those standing arcade things that you
Hmm.
would see. I, and instead of just like one or three games, I'd stick a retro Raspberry Pi in it.
Wow.
So, so
Interesting.
yeah, yeah, that's my little
we
thing.
might ask you for like games and stuff.
Yeah, it might hire you for
Yeah, yeah, I could definitely
the
do that
new
for you guys.
Um,
yeah.
do you make video games?
No, I don't make video games. That's a lot tougher, but I definitely collect them.
Nice. Are you
Yeah,
a
I have
gamer that
everything from Nintendo
yeah,
all the
yeah,
way
you have
through.
all the
Huh?
games, but you have all the games, Nintendo games and everything?
Yeah,
Okay.
everything.
Wow. Um,
Even Felix the Cat?
Yes, I do.
mhm.
Absolutely.
Oh, that means you're hardcore. That game's so
Yeah.
good. It's pure bliss, that game.
It's a good game.
So good.
Are you the type of gamer that beats games, or you just kind of play?
No, I have definitely a record of beating. Like there's so many games that I've beaten over time. Um,
Mhm.
More lately, I haven't like played games all the way through. Like I kind of just like jump in and jump out and stuff like that. And what's great about retro games is like it's not a heavy investment. Like you could jump in, play the game, and jump out, as opposed to newer games that kind of like you
Mhm.
kind of have to invest a lot of
Yeah,
time and you have to
40
remember
hours or
where you've been
something.
and what you've
Yeah,
done.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
so
Wow. So you're definitely speaking our language with gaming, that's for sure. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
it's just
yeah, you
another
sounds like
one of those things that I'm into.
yeah, we're into it. I mean, it sounds like you're deep into it, but yeah, games are just so fun, and it goes hand in
Mhm.
hand with music and movies and stuff. We didn't even touch upon movies this time. Maybe another time, I'm
Oh,
sure. There's a
forget it.
whole
Yeah.
conversation there.
Mhm. Yeah.
But
I was
do,
uh, I was just on another podcast a couple of weeks ago, and they focus on like horror themed
Hmm.
movies, and so yeah, I was trying. I mean, these guys are hardcore enthusiasts as far as like
Hmm.
horror film goes. It's we're getting near Halloween and stuff like that, so it's kind of like a big thing. And I was there's like a subgenre of like experimental horror movies that are kind of like they don't follow the regular script and stuff like that. And there's a few that I know of, and and they were able to keep up. So like that's how I knew that they were hardcore because these aren't movies that like were even released in the theaters and stuff like that.
Mhm. Are we talking older movies or new ones in the horror?
New,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I mean, they discuss old horror movies, all the classics and stuff like that. They're really heavy into it.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll send you the link to the YouTube page. They do something like every week, I believe, or something like that. But it's all horror based.
Okay. Cool. I had a huge horror movie collection. Uh, I guess
Really?
in my teens, yeah, huge. At the time, anyway, it was like 120 because VHS tapes, lots, whatever I can get my hands on, all pretty
Yeah.
much bought, cassette VHS. I don't even think I even got any DVD. That's how the era I was collecting in. And then,
Hmm.
and at some point on my spiritual journey, horror movies were just, I felt like they were clogging up my, my clean
The
energy,
chakra.
Yeah, for sure. But then I went with that. I kind of did a horror movie fast for a couple of decades, and then I started to thirst
Yeah.
for it again. And now I watch them, try not to watch truly scary ones or gory ones, but certainly the old classics, the 30s, 40s, 50s, gladly watch those. And
Hmm.
and 80s with, because he's 10, if I want to include him, we watched Killer Clowns from Outer Space the other day. That's fun and it's kid friendly. I don't think he's going to get a
Yeah,
nightmare
yeah.
from it. But I'm not
Hmm.
going to show him Jason or Freddy yet. I saw Jason and Freddy when I was his age or younger, and I did definitely had
Yeah.
nightmares. So
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, there were no parental advisories back then. Like I saw a lot more than I should, and I definitely didn't expose my daughter to that. It's only now that she's 17 that we watch more adult uh
sure,
uh
yeah,
rated R movies and stuff like that. But I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah. But I do love horror movies, and you know, I love Vincent Price. I read a Boris Karloff biography not long ago, a Bela Lugosi book. I love those classic actors, uh,
Um,
and saw so many Bela Lugosi movies, Boris Karloff movies, Vincent Price.
mm,
Yeah, so all the
Shoot, man.
classics, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, so you know your thing. I mean, like, let me know. Like, I could get you in contact with them, and maybe they'll
Mhm.
have you on the show. Like, it seems like you know what you're talking about, and, and if you were a
I
collector,
certainly do.
definitely they'd love to get
Mhm.
your perspective.
Yeah, I'm open to it. Why not? That sounds fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
sure.
Yeah, I'll let them know. Yeah, for sure. Really cool. Really cool.
Cool. And I do
All
have,
these connections being made.
yeah. And if I could think of anybody who, has a podcast that you would be a good fit for, I'll share it with you or share it with them or both. Introduce you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate that.
All right, man. I know you gotta get going soon. Uh,
But
so
can you please show me is it okay for you to show me the Buck Your Hair cartridge?
no, you don't
Oh,
have.
it's not a cartridge. It's on a Raspberry Pi. I don't
Oh,
have the actual cartridge.
okay.
Yeah, it's a digital version. I wish I had that one.
Yeah, it's epic when you do, but it's not practical to have
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of
The only
cartridges.
cartridges that I do have is I have the first and second Zelda because
Oh,
they were really
nice.
important to me. So I have those in cartridges. They're in storage right now, but I have those.
And you have a Nintendo that you could play it on?
Yeah,
Oh, sweet. Oh, it must feel good to
yeah,
put it in and play. Or did you like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
not open the box type of thing?
Oh no, like to be able to find one that's not opened, it's probably
Oh,
tens of thousands of dollars
okay.
to find a copy like that. No,
So you
mine's
would play
is used
those.
and abused.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice. Perfect. Yeah.
but it still has the original box. It still has the map that they gave you. Still has the
Hmm.
instruction booklet. So that was more than enough for me. I was happy with that.
Oh, yeah, and just holding that gold cartridge, right? It felt so special.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a golden game, man. It's really one of the
yeah,
best games
yeah,
in the
absolutely.
system.
But
Cool, dude. It's been a
it was
pleasure.
great. It was great talking to you guys.
Can we get a photo? I'm supposed to do this in the beginning, but basically I'll just
Oh,
kind
yeah, sure,
of
sure, no problem.
so I can use it as a thumbnail. Ready? And here we go. All right. Did I get that? Sorry. Control. Are you using a Mac?
Oh yeah. Do I have to do something?
No. How do you do a screenshot again? I think I'm doing it right, but I'm
I
not hearing the
forgot.
sound.
I think it's like control command and something else.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah. Control shift. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. All right.
Oh, you got it?
So try again. Yeah. So it's Command Shift 3 is a full screenshot.
Oh, okay.
Okay, here we go. Ready and cool. Thank you. All right. Yeah. So
Yeah, no.
I will upload this to YouTube, put in the show notes, and then I'll send you the link. And yeah, feel
Awesome.
free to connect me to the horror movie guys, and or send me the episode that you were on to reference, and maybe I'll see you at a climate
Awesome.
cafe sometime, or wherever else
Yeah, yeah.
place we can
I'm
cross it.
gonna try to make the next one. I think that's on the 18th, I believe.
Okay, of this month.
Doing something, but I think you need to RSVP for that one. So, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna be in town at that point, but I'm definitely gonna try to make it. If
Oh,
not, yeah, I'll definitely be at the next Climate Cafe whenever they do it.
October 18th?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay, yeah, yeah. So we'll cross paths again, I'm sure. It's been a pleasure, Darren.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Bye,
Thank you
Kai.
so
Thanks
much.
for being on the show,
Tell Yoko I said bye.
and everyone out
Thank
there,
you,
check
guys.
out Darren's book, guys.
All right.
Ready for
Thank you.
Oh,
whatever.
thank you. Thank
All right,
you.
take care, man.
Have a good night.
Night.